Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to episode 3 of C++ for Beginners. In the previous episode, we got the IDE up and running and we made a small little test program to make sure it was working correctly. And I promised you I would run through the Hello World program, so that's what we're here to do today. Now, first thing we need to do is open up Visual C++, and we are here on the start page. Now you could go up here to File, New Project like that, but I am just going to click New Project right there. Now what we need to do is create Visual C++ empty project, and we are going to name it Hello World. And the Hello World program is basically a traditional program that all programmers make for their first program, no matter what language you're using. And if you don't, you'll be cursed. So what we need to do, just like last time, right-click Source Files, add New Item, .cpp file, and name it main.cpp. Click Enter. Now here we are at our empty code file, source file, and we need to start writing some stuff. So the first thing we need to write is a hashtag or pound sign, whatever, and we write include, and in between this less than sign and greater than sign we write IOStream, which stands for input and output stream. Now what this line of code does, basically there is a bunch of pre-written code and functions that we can use, but in order to use them we need to include them. So this line is basically telling the computer, hey, later on in our program we're going to need to use input and output functions, so make those available to us. That's basically what this does. So later on in our program we'll write some text to the screen, so we need the output, so we include the input output stream. Now the next thing we need to do is write using namespace std, and this stands for standard library, and this basically creates a shorthand so we don't have to write as much code, because if we don't include this line, whenever we want to write text to the screen we'd have to write std : cout and then our text. But now since we've wrote this line up here, we can just simply delete that, and basically it just shortens up everything so we don't have to write std : every single time. Now and before we go on, I'd like to mention in C++ and also Java and C# and a bunch of other languages, you must end your lines with a semicolon, just similar to, in English when you write a sentence you end it with a period. In C++ you end lines with a semicolon. So don't forget the semicolon. If you forget a semicolon, you could mess everything up. Now the next thing we need to do, in programs there's these things called functions, which are basically a set of instructions that you can use over and over again. So you could have a function called go ice skating, which will run a bunch of instructions like put on your skis, get on the ice, if you fall down get back up, etc. You could have another function called eat a hamburger, which has the instructions to eat a hamburger, pick up the hamburger, open your mouth, eat it. Okay, now in computer programs, with all of the functions, the computer doesn't know which function to call first, so in all programs we need one function called main, and this is going to be the starting point of our program. So whenever we want to run our program, it'll go to the main function first. And so everything we write for our program needs to go between these curly braces. And we'll get more into functions later on, and I'll explain what void means in these parentheses and everything else. But for right now, just know that this is a function, and everything that we want the computer to do, we write between the curly braces. So right here, we want to print some text out to the screen, so we write cout, which stands for console output, 2 less than signs, 2 quotation marks, and inside the quotation marks, we write what we want to print to the screen. So we're going to write hello world, and we end our line with a semicolon. Now, up here, this green triangle that says start debugging is how, basically, once we click this, the Visual C++ will compile our program and then run the program. So let's go ahead and test out our program so far. We'll click this, and as you can see, a little black box popped up and disappeared really quick. And this is why. Like I said earlier, or maybe I didn't say earlier, the computer programs run from the top down. So our compiler will go like this. It goes, okay, include IOStream. So you want to use some console input and output functions later on. Okay, I'll make those available to you. Okay, using the standard library namespace. Okay, so you won't have to write std : so much. And then it goes, okay, now I need to look for the main function so we can run the program. And it goes, oh, here's main. Okay, so what do they want to do? Oh, they want to write out hello world to the console. Okay, we'll do that. And then it goes, oh, nothing else for me to do, so I'll shut down the window. But we don't want the window to shut down, so we're going to add in a simple little statement called cin.get and end it with a semicolon. And this is going to get, wait for the user to press enter, and this stands for console input. So now if we want to run our program, it says hello world, and it waits for us to, it says hello world and waits for us to press enter, and then it closes. So that is the basics of the hello world program, and that about wraps up this video. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode.